Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to now Greek 121. We are marching on. How was your 112, if I may ask? Wasn't a rough ride? It was? Not as bad as Hebrew. I'm happy they are not here to hear that. Okay. And did you make it, all of you, in Hebrew? But it wasn't easy. Second opportunity. Okay. Now that's why we have a second opportunity chance. So, but well, congratulations and continue to work hard. Welcome back to Greek module, Greek 121. I'm also looking forward to yet another show of hard work and dedication, commitment, passion. With that, it is possible. Okay? I don't want you to come back to me in January and say, oh, Greek was bad. Anyway, we enjoyed Hebrew. Continue enjoying Greek. Continue to enjoy your Greek, and as long as you enjoy it, I am happy. Just some few technical issues or administrative issues. If you want to ask a question, there is a microphone at the back. So you just raise up your hand and then we give you the microphone. You can speak to the mic so that you can be audible enough. Remember, this class is taking place all over the country where we have at the center. So we would also love them to hear your questions. They can be very much helpful to them. Secondly, Christo, can you explain again this?
It's for the people that are on the Afrikaans one, or people who want to write a question instead of directly asking the question.
Okay, so they can actually direct the question there in that link. So, yeah, as for the rest, it's just the normal things that we do, or the usual things we do. Let's get to. I'm not used to standing like this. Okay, I think I would rather. Yeah, please. Thanks, Christo. That will help. Okay. Now, welcome to Greek 121, and your fellow team member. That's myself. I never look at myself as a lecturer or professor. I am a fellow team member. We're playing together. I'd rather call myself a player coach. I play with you while coaching you. Your difficulties are always my difficulties. And when we enjoy it together. So please, I'm looking forward also to your hard work and your commitment in this. We are not wasting time anymore. You know where we stopped a previous semester, and we are picking up from there. So we are going straight to lesson 13 of your of our handbook, Croy. I'm introducing to you yet another tense, which will help us get to understand Greek better and better. You are all on Ifundi, right? You have seen the time schedule. I've uploaded it. Please don't ignore Ifundi, because you ignore it, you fall behind. All the information, I'm uploading them there. I will communicate some of the information here in the class, but then let's make use of Ifundi also, that you don't fall back. Okay? I have uploaded already our time schedule. When are we going to do what for the rest of the semester? And as for the tests and assignments, I said we will arrange them here in the class. Okay? So the time schedule is there, and next week I think we are going to write the so-called an admission test. In any Greek, after any semester, you can only participate in the next semester if you pass the two Latenstuts, the admission test. You must prove to me and to the departments once again that it was not by miracle that you passed your Greek the previous semester. You knew what you were doing. So next week, I just check the schedule. I will make sure of that and send something on our WhatsApp group. We are writing the two Latin tools or the admission test. It's covering lesson 1 to lesson 12. Everything else we have done, everything, it's in that test. So don't think you passed your first semester, now you forgot about it. No. We still continue with it. You're still going to pass the present indicative and the future indicative and the imperfect indicative and so forth, right? And the vocabulary, it still applies. So therefore, we are going to write that test next week. Ready?
Prof, is the admission test part of your participation?
Big one. Actually, it's going to take 10% of your participation. If the overall participation mark is 70%, now it's no longer going to be 70, it's going to be 60. The 10 is going to the Dula thanks to. So it counts a lot, you can hear that. Please, I encourage you to work hard on that, okay? Any other question? Administrative issues? Something we can sort out before we continue? Yes, Yandra?
Ons het eerste pastoraal op campus en dan het ons verreken aan Grieks.
Ferreritlas?
Ja.
Ja.
Ons kan hoor of ons pastoraal kan aanskuif of iets. Dis net vir ons moeilik om vir teologiese skool betuig.
Ja.
Ek weet nie, ons kan net daaroor gesels.
Is dit klas by die teologische skool?
Ja.
Okay.
Ja.
If you have one. Yeah.
I'll have mine and I can bring
The rest of the guys, yeah. But please try and talk to the lecturer there, because we cannot move this class anyhow. We are with our brothers and sisters out there, so we cannot try and move it around. So we need this class at this time. Just try and speak to the pastoral. Who is that? Prof. Gert. Okay. Yeah, please speak to him, or else if it's not possible, make use of a vehicle and then reach here as soon as you can. Okay?
Sorry, Prof, I'm not on the group yet.
Yeah, just send me your student number on the WhatsApp, then I can.
one-to-one.
Yeah.
No,
We are not on it.
we're still on 112.
How's it?
Yeah.
Okay. I will have to delete that from Ifundi, but then I can manually upload or connect you if you just send me your student numbers. Please on WhatsApp do that after this class, then I can connect you. Okay.
Do we have class tomorrow until 6:30? Maybe we have class.
That's a very unreformed time to have a class. I cannot have a Greek class on a Friday 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. It just won't work. We are going to use our Tuesday class, Wednesday class, and Thursday. So our week actually will run from Thursday to Wednesday. Okay? And that's how I designed the time schedule also. We're not going to throw away that Friday thing. It's
On Wednesdays too?
yeah, on Wednesday. Late afternoon. No, we are not coming here. We are using the Thursday class for for connecting with the rest of the guys out there. And that is what we have arranged with all of you. Our broadcast session is actually going to take place on this class on a Thursday. Then on a Wednesday, we are meeting at 110. Then if there's someone there, because we are actually allocated to be here, if there's someone there, we will see what other venue we can use. Okay? So it's not a problem. Okay? Please, you have been just asking questions. You forgot your microphone. Because all the things we're talking about now, they also affect other people. Please, remember that. And remind me if I forget, please. Okay? So next week, Wednesday, that side. Only on Thursdays, this time, we are here. Right? Let's start with the business of the day. Some study outcomes. As far as lesson 13 is concerned, I am introducing to you the aorist indicative active. Therefore, I'm expecting, we are expected to recognize and explain the so-called third principal part of the verb. We have dealt with the first principal part and the second principal part. Now, you will understand that if you did not do your revision from lesson 1 to 12, you will be pulling very hard now. We have dealt with the first principal part, which is the present indicative active, lu'uo, okay? And we have dealt also with the second principal part of the verb, which is the future indicative active. Principal part, the ones that I refer to as the horizontal conjugation, not the vertical, not the lu'uo, lu'es, lu'ei, lu'omen, lu'ete, those are the vertical, right? But I spoke about the horizontal conjugation, which is the present indicative and then the future indicative. And now we have to recognize and explain the third principal part of the verb, which is the aorist indicative active, something I'm introducing to you today. Recognize and explain the forms of the aorist, first aorist indicative. I'm emphasizing first aorist here because we will also talk about the so-called second aorist. Okay? The first aorist. They all refer to the past time, action completed in the past, or a simple action in the past. Okay? But their forms, how we form them, differs. All right. So therefore, we first go to the first aorist indicative active. And third, we will also talk about, we are expected to recognize and explain the forms of the first aorist middle indicative. Remember when we dealt with the present indicative active, we also dealt with the present middle, okay, indicative. So we also going to do that with the aorist, to recognize and explain the forms of the first aorist infinitive. Remember the present infinitive, and then the present middle infinitive, and now the aorist infinitive. Okay? And that's basically what we will be doing today. Any questions so far with this? This is what we are expected to at least do. If we say we have achieved something on this study unit, this is what we're expected to do. Okay? Just to give you some brief notes, I have taken this from my previous class presentation. You still remember the primary and the secondary tenses? Revision. Okay? Biblical Greek has 6 tenses. We spoke about that. 3 primary tenses, that is the present, the future, and the perfect. And so far, we have done that. All right? And then the secondary tenses, we have done that, and today we are doing that. So actually, we are only left with the perfect and the pluperfect. And then we are done with all the tenses. Do you still remember how to conjugate your present indicative active? Give me the present indicative active of thelua, thelais, thelei, thelomen, thelete, thelusin. Okay? I hope your Greek is not left in the holidays. Because then, Mukesh, are you there? Okay, good. Now also, our brothers and sisters out there, please try and do the revision and come back to this, because without it, then you will have a lot of struggles. Anyone who can conjugate for us any verb in the future indicative active? It's me. I'm knocking at the door of your heart or your mind. Anyone who wants to conjugate any verb in the future indicative active? Okay. Try any verb. Try lu'ua in the future indicative active. The future. The future. Lu suo. Yes. Lu seis. Mhm. Lu somen. Yes. Lu sosin. Okay. Good. Some more practice, please, as we get back to that. Anyone who wants to try the imperfect for me? Yes, ni muy like me. Anyone who wants to try the imperfect? Remember now we are dealing with the secondary tense. Then you must have that augment. Let me give you a hint. Eluon, eluon, elus, elun, elu, ete, and eluon again. Okay? Please get back to those things. They are very, very important. Primary tenses refer to the present and the future time. That's where you have the present and the future indicative active. Secondary tenses refer to the past time. You remember that. Secondary tense forms identify by a certain prefix, which we call an augment. Like in a case of lu, on, you have that. We call it an augment, which in the primary tenses, you can talk about your present indicative active, lu uo. It's not a lu uo, no? It's lu uo, there is no augment. Okay. And then in some other in some other cases, other markers, of course. All right? The tense you will learn in this lesson, the aorist, denotes a simple or undefined action in the past. Now, this will be your 8th point whenever you analyze your verb. To say this is an aorist indicative active, first person, plural of this word meaning this. What does it mean? A simple or undefined action in the past. In the present tense, we used to say a simple action in the present. In the future, could be a promise in the future or a simple action to take place in the future. Okay? So, but then in the case of the aorist, it's a simple, undefined action in the past. Are we fine there? Are you okay with this? I took this slide from one of our previous classes, so this should just sound like a usual song to you. Okay? Good, let's see. Let's get to the third principal part of the verb. I'm very sorry, I'm not sure what happened with my Afrikaans translation. I realized it very late and I couldn't correct it. So if you have any question in Afrikaans, or ek sal dit probeer om in Afrikaans te sê of verduidelik. My slides are only in English. Only this slide, I think. The rest is okay. Okay. The third principal part of the verb, we spoke about the first principal part, which is the present indicative active, and the second principal part of the verb is your future. All right? And now we are coming to the third principal part of the verb, which is your aorist indicative active, first person singular of luuo, that is elusa. But then there are different first persons in the different tenses. For example, you have the first one, luuo, lusuo in the future, elusa, that is the aorist active, and then le luka. You haven't learned this before. You haven't learned this. It's your perfect, all right? And then you have the perfect, the aorist passive. I'm sorry, I did not write that there. This is the aorist passive, eluthen. And then you have the perfect passive, lelumai. So if I give you a verb and say, give me the principal part of this verb, this is how you have to conjugate it. We call it horizontal conjugation. It's no longer luo, lueis, or lusuo, luseis, and so forth. I'm looking for the present, the future, the aorist, the perfect, and the aorist passive, and the perfect passive. You haven't learned this yet, the perfect and the aorist passive. So at this stage, I will only focus on the three. That is the present, the future, and the aorist. Are we sure of what we are doing now? Are you sure? Okay, good. The aorist indicative active, first person, forms part of the horizontal conjugation of the verb and can be referred to as the third principal part of the verb. I'm emphasizing this. You hear me now repeating the same thing. Third person, third principal part, because I don't want you to forget. I want you to at least get along with it, know it, right? The aorist indicative active is that third principal part of the verb. We have so far done the vertical conjugation of the verb, something I was talking about now. Something you will be asked to give is a horizontal conjugation of the verb. That is, giving its principal parts. The eerste, what is that in Afrikaans? Die hoofdtyd, nee, van die werkwoord. Die hoofdtyd van die werkwoord. That is the eerste persoon, nee, the first person, singular, of each and every verb. In the present, in the future, in the aorist, perfect, aorist passive, and perfect passive. This must be studied and, if possible, be memorized. Okay? Any questions so far? Now you know what we talk about when we talk about third principal part of the verb. That is the aorist indicative active, first person singular of a verb. The first principal part, the present indicative. The second principal part, the future indicative. Are we okay there? Good. Now the first aorist, active indicative, those are the forms. Take note. The aorist, like the perfect, is a secondary tense. Ons noem dit in Afrikaans aoristas. Nee, the aoristas, indicative. All right? It's a secondary tense. So once we say it's a secondary tense, those 6 Greek tenses and how they behave and how they are formed must come back to your mind. What can you expect if we're talking secondary tense? Okay, the action is taking place or have taken place in the past. And what else? And its form? How do we form them? There must be an augment. There must be an augment. And most of the time is your epsilon. Okay? That's the only one I know. That's not even most of the time, but an epsilon. Sometimes it will change as it also interact or mingle with other vowels, right? And then what else can you tell me about the secondary tense? In the past, and there is an augment, and basically we are talking about the imperfect, the aorist, and the pluperfect. Okay. It will therefore signify action in the past. You have said that well. And let us look at the forms. It will have an augment also, as you have said. Look at the form. Elusa. Elusa. What is new here? It's from luo. How do we form it? It means your person ending changes, and then you have the sa suffix. All right? And then we have said that it should or it will have an augment. Okay? And there is your augment. And what does that mean? I destroyed. The present indicative active, it will only be luo. It means ek vernietig. I destroy. Or ek losmaak. I loosen. Okay? It's now. It's indicative. It's active. Okay? Then coming to the imperfect. it will be elu on, with that on ending. How would you translate it? Ek was besig om te vernietig. I was busy destroying. Of ek was besig om los te maak. I was busy loosening. I was loosening. Okay? It's something happened in the past, but it was continuing. Okay? Past continuous. And then now, it's no longer I loosen or I was loosening, but this is just a simple action in the past. I loosened. I kicked. I cried. I wrote. All right? It's simple action in the past. And what are the specific markers? Oh, this is my previous slide. I want to go back to that. Secondary tense forms are identified by certain prefix or argument and some other markers. Okay? The future indicative has its own mark. You remember the sigma with that present ending, present indicative active ending, luo, lueis, luei, and so forth. But then coming to the aorist, the marker, the main marker is your sa suffix. There is your main marker. The augment will be there, sa, all the time. Elusas, elusen, with the movable knee, you know how it works. Okay? If the next word begins with a vowel, then you must put that knee to separate two vowels melting or combining. Then the sound won't sound good anymore. All right? And then you have elusamen. You can see the sa suffix is always there. And then elusate, elusan. They loosened. You, plural, loosened. We loosened. And I loosened. You loosened. Here you had ge in Afrikaans. Simple as that. It's just a simple and undefined action in the past. Any questions so far? Will you be able to identify the aorist indicative active, the sa suffix, and the augment? Okay? The sa suffix and the augment. Any question? You will see this as we do more exercises. You will definitely not struggle with it. The first aorist middle indicative in page 72. We also have the forms there. Elusamen. It's still an aorist, but then it's middle. Remember, whenever we dealt with the middle and the passive, the omai ending, etai, estai, ometha, este, ontai. Okay? And then, but then here we're talking aorist. Then the augment is there, and then the sa suffix is there. Only the first person singular looks. No, I have something wrong there. The second person. Sorry, yes, it's correct. Elusamen. Then you still have that sa, and then you have elusor, the second person singular. You loosened. I will ask you a question now. And then elusato, you still have that augment and the sa. Okay? Elusametha, elusasthe, elusanto. What does the middle form of the verb denote most of the time? Or how can you describe the action of the middle term, of the middle form of the verb? The active form, the subject is doing, is performing an action to a direct object. Okay? And the passive, it means now the action is performed upon the subject. What about the middle form? You take the microphone. What about the middle form? Yandra? Is it on? Okay.
You're performing the action to yourself.
Okay. It's reflexive. You're
Yes.
performing an action to yourself. So, I loosened for, or I loosened myself. You loosened yourself. You destroyed yourself. Okay? We have a common expression on this. You shot yourself on the leg. Okay? It's the middle. Okay? When I will have been advising you to do something and you don't do it, at the end of the day you fail, then I will use the middle form, say, but you shot yourself on the leg. That's what you will have done. Okay, that's not a nice story anyway. But then the aorist middle, indicative, elusamen, elusuo, elusato, elusametha, elusaste, and elusanto. Okay? Any questions so far? You fine with it? Then we are done with the class today. This is what now we have to do. The first aorist infinitive, also, it's a very, very simple form. You look at it in page 73. You have that lusai. And then the middle form, lusasthai. Watch out next week on your toelatingstoets in the, what is that now? Admission test. I will ask you all the infinitives you have learned. Volu ein and lu esthai and all those. Please revisit them. Please don't let it cost you much. It's 10% of your participation. So get back to it. And then here we have these two. Remember, the augment only occurs in the indicative mood. The infinitive mood does not have what? An augment. Even if it's a secondary tense. The infinitive mood does not have the augment. Even if it's a secondary tense. The augment only occurs in the indicative mood. Okay? So I mustn't ask you to give me an aorist infinitive and you say, lusai. It does not work like that. Okay? It doesn't work like that, please. So those are the two forms, the aorist active infinitive and the aorist middle infinitive. Okay? To have loosened in the past and to be loosened. Okay? Any questions so far? Good. How do I analyze a verb in the aorist tense? Just like any other verb. 8 things must come forward. The time, the mood, the diathesis, the person, the number, dictionary form and the meaning, and indicate also that the aorist tense convey or communicates a simple or an undefined action in the past. In that way, we will have successfully analyzed a verb in the aorist tense. Just like your present, indicative, active, third person singular, you would mention about 8 things to me, right? So also with your aorist tense. Die aoristas het ook 8 items of, yeah, take your microphone. Yeah.
Prof, what is an undefined action?
Undefined, it's maybe say simple. If you go back to your
It's like 'n eenvoudige aksie in die verlede.
Yeah.
afgehandelde actie.
Yes. Yeah. Undefined, it actually comes from the word aorist itself. Aorist means not defined. Not defined. It's just like a simple statement, okay, in the past. Ik weet niet hoe noem jullie dit in Afrikaans. Ik zal voor Prof. Joris vertaling, krooi vertaling zien. Hoe het hij? Don't I have it somewhere here? A simple action in the past. I'm not sure if he has it. I can't remember it. Onbegrensde. Is that so? Yeah, it's just an undefined, a simple action in the past. It's normally what we will call in English simple past. I kicked, okay? I wrote, I listened, I said. Simple action in the past. So the aorist actually is the exact opposite of your present. The present basically will be the simple action now. I mean, in the present. But then the aorist, it's a simple action, an undefined action in the past. Okay? My favorite part of the class. Now each one of us must get something. Come Tuesday. Is that Tuesday? 10 o'clock.
We know we're writing the admission.
Yeah, that's one thing we have to agree. We cannot use our normal time schedule for the test because we only have 3 classes in a week. Otherwise, we fall behind. Brother, welcome. Are you just visiting or belong to the class?
No, I don't belong to the class. I came earlier than I should have.
Well,
In fact, I was told that there is a training here at 11.
no. This is a Greek class. Yeah, Greek class.
Okay.
Yeah.
It starts from what time to what time?
We started 10 o'clock to 11. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but my session is at
11. Okay, so you are early for your session. But you are welcome. You can learn 1 or 2 things in Greek. Okay? Thank you. Right. Pararai, you go and do for us sentence 1. And sentence 2. Okay, sentence 3, practice and review. Ne? Practice and review. Yandre, 4, 5, Yako, 5.
Doen ek 4 en 5 en doen hy ook 5?
No, jy is 4. Jy doen 4, ja. En dan Yako doen zijn 5, ne? Okay. And Johan? Dani. Okay. 6. 7. Why do I forget your names now? Isaac. Isaac. Okay, people from Limpopo behave like that. And then Werner, 8. Sister, you do 9. I want us to exhaust all these sentences. We go to LXX. Parara, you do sentence 1. You saw how the LXX came in the exam. Huh? So when I skip them for a reason. I use them, exactly these ones. Okay? So that is sentence 1, pararai. Sentence 2, um, sentence 3, Mukesh. Sentence 4, no. Sentence 5, Yandre. Skip 4. 6, Yako. Isaac. 7. 8, Werner. 9, Danny. 10. No, just wait. Yes. 10. Okay. Let's go to the New Testament sentences. We all have to do 3. You have long weekend. You can do that. KK, you do sentence number 1, New Testament. Isaac, 2. Werner, 3. Danny, 4. Yako, 5. Yandre, 6. 7. Mukesh, 8. Pararai, 9. Mr. Litavel. Good. We are no longer doing the English to Greek sentences anymore, and I'm not going to give you that in the exam. What is going to happen is, I see you are smiling. You are going to get what? Okay. I'm not going to give you English to Greek sentences anymore. For me, we are still thinking or putting our minds around the whole question of the living language approach of teaching. I see Daddy waving your, shaking your. What's going on?
It's difficult.
Is it difficult?
That's why we fail.
And irrelevant?
It's relevant, but
Practical doesn't.
it's practical for second years, but first year we have to do it like this.
Yes,
You have to name it from. We struggle to.
We don't
We
have
do
to
it in class now. How do we do it in exams? It's not that.
So it's not, you cannot apply what you do in the class in the exam. Yeah. Well, we know about it also from in the Greek department, but I rather stick to the devil I know than the devil I don't know. Trying a new thing in a critical stage like this, it's very dangerous. And I saw your results on Hebrew and so forth, but I said, yeah, this is the challenge. But then let's continue doing it this way. And then up to the point where I, myself, and Pierre, we're waiting for that time when we will be convinced that really this is the best method of presenting Greek. For me, if you want to go and stay in Greece and talk, communicate, well, go for the living language. But here we are busy with the ancient Greek, the New Testament Greek, mainly for exegesis and interpretation, Bible translation, and all that. So the conventional way of doing it, it's for me the best. So, but then I'm not going to give you the English to Greek anymore. What is going to happen is I will give you a Greek passage, say 10 lines, a simple Greek passage of your standard. Then I will ask you questions. I'm going to give you a passage, and out of the passage, I will begin to ask questions. Okay? You are going to read the Greek passage. You read it with understanding. And if you don't understand it, definitely, obviously, you won't be able to answer the questions. Just a story. Who is saying what? Who is talking this? And what is happening in the passage? And so forth. Just like a comprehension test. Okay? Yeah. That's what I'm going to do in the exam. And also, 1 or 2 assignments in the course of the semester, I will need you to do that. Yeah. So forget about the English to Greek now. We're not going to do that anymore. Was it the difficult part? I heard so many stories. I read many stories which you said during the exam on the English to Greek. And then I was wondering, are these guys still pastors? Because you were lying there in the... If you don't know a thing, just don't write anything. Okay? I'd rather give you a half mark of saying, Prof, I don't know, than saying something which you know in your heart you are lying.
You just know too much, Prof. Just read this. I just wrote those two.
Okay. No, it's fine, I'm joking. But then let's do those exercises and then we meet on Tuesday. Yandre, you take the microphone if you have a question so we can...
Ek wil net gevra die aandagtoets gaan hy Engels to Greek sentences in hê.
What is it?
Die admission test. Nee.
Nee.
Okay. So
Nooit nie. Yeah. Werner, take the mic.
Is it going to look like the exam or like last year's second semester admission test with the paradigmas and vocabulary?
All the paradigmas, the vocabulary, the paradigms, and the vocab, and the translations,
Same as the exam.
and the microstructure. The format is not like the exam. Check last year's paper on the, if you have one. Werner, you were there. Yeah, share with them. But it's not going to be the same paper. Okay, obviously. Okay. For the microphone.
Is it going to be in the same format then as the class test?
As the class test, yeah. Yeah. I guess jammer for that one. Yeah. So, okay. Please get back to lesson 1 to 12. Without it, then we don't have a foundation, right? You can go on and on with lesson 13 to 22, but having forgotten the first ones, you are bound to struggle. So please. I was so much challenged by the Dokenda students. 2 of our students in Pretoria got distinctions, top of the class. They were not here with us. Anyway, they are with us in the camera. But you have a privilege of asking me questions here and everything, but no one matched them. That's challenging. Okay? Well, I had some 2 sessions with them in Sunnyside last year. I went and presented all the 6 lessons in a day, and the other day, all 6 lessons. So maybe they grabbed that opportunity and used it. But then we have to pull up our socks. All right? I don't like borderline passing, like 50% and all that. It's Ephesians 2 verse 8 does not work here. It's not by grace. It's by hard work. Okay? It's not by grace, it's by hard work. We must get back. Thank you so much. And that will be the end of our class today. We meet on Tuesday next week.